CultPop!
What's up to all our sidekicks and henchmen out there in the Geek Nation? I'm Johnny Destructo. You can call me JD. I'm the owner of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex at 4327 Main Street in Philadelphia, PA. It's a little comic shop, game shop, t-shirt shop, original art shop. It's a whole bunch of shop. You should come down and hang out with me and pick up some stuff. So tonight is Tuesday night. Tomorrow is new book day. And I'm very excited. There's a whole bunch of stuff coming out. And that includes Spider-Man from J.J. Abrams, Henry Abrams, and Sarah Pichelli. This is the last issue of the 5-issue miniseries that started, I think, in the year 22 BC. And it's finally wrapping up. Sandman universe and the Lock and Key universe are going to be having a crossover. And so a number 0 comes out this week, and basically it's a reprint issue. It's a primer. So it's got an issue of Lock and Key that is pretty important, and an issue of the Sandman, which is pretty important, and then a bunch of other little infographics and information that you're going to need for the crossover event that's coming up. And then Dark Knight's Death Metal, the last stories of the DC universe. This is a perfect bound issue, so it's pretty thick, and it's an anthology about a bunch of different happenings inside this universe. And then what I'm going to be talking to you today about is crossover number 2 by Donny Cates and Geoff Shaw from Image Comics. And we're going to be doing a Thunder Round. So a Thunder Round is just a 60-second review of anything, literally anything. But tonight, it's going to be for crossover number 2. So crossover number 1, I think we had done a Thunder Round a couple weeks ago about it. And it basically details what happens when a comic book world explodes into the real world. And I mean that quite literally. An entire real world city is decimated by the appearance and replacement of that city by a fictional city. And it's filled with fictional characters, superheroes, comic book characters, etc., and sort of how that affects the real world, how that affects comic books in that real world, and religion plays a part. And it's really all of these really interesting avenues that I wasn't expecting Donny Cates to include in this story when I heard what it was about. Because if I remember correctly, what's his nuts? Mark Millar had done this maybe about 10 years ago for Marvel Comics, and it was called 1985. And it was, I think it was John Paul Leon drew it. And it basically had Marvel superheroes showing up in the real world. And it didn't really get very big, right? It didn't really deal with as many things as Donny Cates is dealing with in crossover. So that's number 1. We're going to talk about number 2. I'm going to bring up my timer. I'm going to put 60 seconds on the clock, and here we go. Boom. Okay, so I enjoyed the first issue of crossover, and I enjoyed this issue just as much as I did the first issue. I think that Donny Cates is dealing with some really interesting stuff. And like I said, he's dealing with a much broader canvas than I think Mark Millar did when he was trying the same sort of story. And I'm not going to ruin anything for you. I'm not going to spoil anything. But it definitely pulls little elements from other bits of pop culture. I think there's a little bit of 100 Bullets if you look closely. There's a little bit of Under the Dome from Stephen King. There's actually a complete visual representation is swiped from the cover of a 1990s issue of Spawn, which I'm not going to ruin, but it's very clearly referencing that cover that I remember from when I was reading that series way back in the day. And so he's really kind of tying a whole bunch of his favorite things into this series from what I can tell. And he's dealing with religion, he's dealing with the government. Ooh, there we go, that's it. So that's the end of my round. I'm supposed to stop talking now. But I think it's pretty good. I think it hasn't grabbed me as much as I was really hoping it would suck me in. It hasn't really done that so far. It's a slow burn. It's sort of like giving us piecemeal information about this world. And so far, while it's interesting, I haven't emotionally connected with the story as of yet. So I'm going to keep reading it because it's definitely enjoyable, and I'm definitely curious about what Donny Cates is going to be doing moving forward, because he has such a big sandbox to play with, and he's teasing a bunch of really cool stuff that's coming up. So I'm definitely intrigued, but part of me wonders if maybe this would be better in a trade paperback form, if maybe even the issues were a little thicker and we got a little bit more story per issue. I think it might be a little bit more enrapturing, but as it is right now, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, right? I wish I could come on here and say this is the most amazing book ever, but I think the thing that's holding me back from such a big reaction is this isn't a book that I can really recommend to everybody. I can't hand this to my mom and be like, here's what comic books are like. I think this is very much a niche book for the comic book reader, for the audience that already exists within the comic book genre. So this isn't for everybody, but I think there are a lot of comic book readers that are really going to enjoy it. So that's my review. A little bit longer than a minute. So let me know what you guys think of Crossover. Are you enjoying this series? Let me know what you think of Donny Cates. Let me know what you're excited about. I want to hear your recommendations for what you're reading this week and what you're excited about that's coming up. Don't forget to like, comment below, and then subscribe. Click the little bell so that you can know that when we get or when we publish these videos. And join us Sunday at 10:30 a.m. where we will do our live stream comic book review show, which is sometimes called Spoiler Alert, sometimes called Gutter Talk, when we talk about the broader elements of pop culture. So we've mixed those bunch of things together, and now it's basically just a Cult Pop live stream where we just hang out, we have fun, we hang out with you guys, and we respond to your comments, and we have a pretty good time. It's a blast. And then, you know, we do the Thunder Rounds like this. Me and Noel do Thunder Rounds just for shits and giggles. So yeah. I guess that's it. Come down to my shop, say hi. You can tweet at me at JD's Hero Complex. You can email us at JD's Hero Complex. No, you can email me for information about my store at jdsherocomplex@gmail.com. You can email the podcast at cultpopgo@gmail.com. And that's it. I'm going to finish my tea. I'm going to go watch some TV. I got to get up and go running. I really don't want to do that, but I'm trying to get back in the swing of it. So thanks so much for hanging out with me. And I'll talk at you later. Boop.
CultPop!